At what moment did you realize FK I'm old? When I find myself grunting and groaning just to bend over to tie my shoes. Yo, I do this and I'm 21. When I fell down at work and no one laughed. Instead 3 people came running over to make sure I was okay. Edited to clarify, I'm only 36. I was walking in our break room and stepped down wrong, I guess. I fell into the stove and rolled my ankle. Thank you all for the awards. Kinda weird that my most popular post is about me falling down. Let me assure all of you that I was okay after this fall and have gone on to fall down 2 different sets of stairs and trip over my dogs on multiple occasions. I never thought of it that way. When you're a teenager and someone falls, it's the funniest S ever. Holy yes, this is depressing. When I went to a music festival and slept in a tent after 5 or so years of not doing so. My god. I need to get home and take a real shower. Truth. I slept on an air mattress for the first time in years and holy hell did I ache the next day. Gone are the days I could fall asleep on cold concrete contorted like the best circus act and wake up feeling as refreshed as a spring chicken. My 12 years old daughter's friend told her the amount of times your mom has worn that outfit is astronomical, and when my daughter repeated it to me all my hopes of being a cool mom were crushed and I felt older than I ever have. Hopes of being a cool mom were crushed and I felt older than I ever have. Spend time with your kids, but I'm assuming you already do OFC, lol, and you're cool. I remember my mum would play video games with us when I was younger. Usually Mario since she's not very good at anything else, lol, and recently, I've harassed politely asked her to try out Hollow Knight and she's enjoyed it. Finding a common interest between yourself and your kids is always a good start. And I'm sure it's fun to rub it in their face when you win at something they thought you'd be bad at, lol. When I was in my late 20s I dated a girl who had a daughter. The daughter and I got along great. Played a bunch of Katamari together, etc. Years later, that girl and I have long since broken up. I did some volunteer teaching at one of the local alternative schools with my wife. And one of students in the film class we taught was my ex-girlfriend's daughter, now 18 years old. At some point in your life, whether you have kids or not, you realize you're technically old enough to be a grandparent. And that feels very old. Over the summer I was reading about a teenager who had been killed. He was survived by a daughter and his 33-year-old mother. Now, this isn't normal overall by any means, but I still stop to think how this woman was not only a grandmother but could have been a senior in high school when I was a freshman. When I overheard my teenage niece and her friends taking the pee out of things millennials say. Apostrophe. Listen here you little SS. When my son could outrun me. I went obstacle course running with my oldest, 6 years at that time, and he asked if we could still be doing that in 10 years. I told him I would be 50 so sure. You know what that little S said? Cool, I will hold back for you dad. He is probably right, but I will keep training to not make it easy for him to pass me. I saw a picture on Facebook of a friend from college and thought, damn, he got fat and old. I immediately realized. I also got fat and old. My 2 New Year's resolutions are, number 1, get back into the shape I was before the accident. Number 2, stop referring to letting myself go and getting fat as the accident. Instead of growing facial hair to look older, I'm shaving it to look younger. 27 here and still shaving to look older instead of looking like a 16-year-old who is trying to grow his first beard. I had to explain to someone how we used to organize meeting up before cell phones became a thing. That and having to use encyclopedias and other books to complete homework. I'm mid-30s. The reactions I was getting, it was like I was explaining how to split an atom using 2 sporks. Edit, wowzers. What on earth is all this? Thank you for all the upvotes and awards. You wonderful kind strangers. Tips hat reading the comments of this thread, I'm being hit with waves of nostalgia. This whole convo happened after one of my colleagues, 19, phone had no data, and they were distraught about not being able to keep up with people and what was happening. It blew my mind that his social life was over as soon as data was done. So I stood on my quick safe, UK reference, issued no frills soapbox and started preaching about how I survived the Mad Max-esque dystopian wasteland with no phone at all. Mobiles were definitely on the scene when I was a teen, but they were still at that stage where someone older would be getting one for you, and even if you did have one, keeping the thing topped up with credit was another story. Had one of 17, 3,310, but it was just extra weight in my pocket. Had no credit to call anyone and it was expensive to call landline to mobile, or so my parents yelled at me, so we still used landlines anyway. I remember one ringing people so they would call you back, and then being peered if they managed to pick up the call because that cost credit and would, a lot of times for me, take the balance to a point I couldn't one ring anymore. Maybe I should be posting this one on When Did You Realize Frick? I was broke. Phone boxes were available. If they worked, hadn't been used as a toilet. Organizing meeting up, plan way in advance, all the intricate details like where we gonna eat and etc. Pick a distinctive landmark in the area and then do a round of landline phone calls perhaps the evening before just to make sure everyone was still on board. The day would come, you would turn up to previously agreed location and then wait. That was it. I honestly don't remember a time where someone didn't turn up after the final year I'm there. Which could be days before the actual event. Late maybe, but there would usually be a checkpoint along the journey for people to catch up if it was easier for them to meet up there. Tickets would be held by only the most reliable. I was never that person. I feel like plans would only be made with people you wanted to be around, and if we all really, genuinely wanted to go out, since it took efforts to even agree on where, when, how and then coordinate. These days it's so easy to agree to things and then cancel at the last minute. How to split an atom with sporks. Prepare a suitable work area. I suggest a plate on top of a tea towel, place atom on top of the plate. Take a spork in each hand. Wear gloves, but only those black gloves they use at BBQs and barbershops are acceptable. Use the spork in the left hand to split atom, then to hold in place. Use the spork in your right hand to scoop out the innards. Repeat until you have enough for the mushroom struggle. Usually just one required. Let me make it clear after all this rambling, I really enjoy how easy it is to look things up and communicate these days. But that time definitely taught me how to be more resourceful and how to appreciate all this wonderful new technology. TLDR. Some of you will never hear Bill Clinton say I did not have exo relations with that woman. After completing a 2-hour download of a tune from Napster Morpheus Lemuel, and that is a true shame. I was literally just talking to my friend about that. Neither of us could wrap our heads around how you'd plan anything. If someone didn't show up to your meetup, did you just assume they couldn't make it? How could you even call if there were a change of plans if you weren't at home to use the phone? I used to drive for Uber, and one night I realized the college girls I picked up could have been my adult daughters. I had something similar, but realized the college girls were too young for my children. When I mentioned MRT to my wife's friend and she had no clue who I was talking about. Did you pity the fool? They played Green Day and The Offspring on the classic rock radio station. Then the announcer says something about it being released on this day 20 years ago. WTF. When I'm signing up for an account on a website, I have to scroll back pretty far to find my birth year now. According to most websites, I was born on the 1st of January, 1901. I just turned 30 and got a hemorrhoid instantly. Also, I have no idea how to spell hemorrhoid. Allow me to help you, hemorrhoid. I was playing basketball alone and a bunch of kids smashed a beer bottle on the other side of the court just for fun. I shouted at them, told them to pick up the pieces and warned them not to do that ever again. They got scared shirtless and apologized. I had never felt older. Shirtless? You motherfucker. When I spotted a grey pubic hair. Oddly, this bothered me more than the grey hairs on my scalp. Edit to clarify, I'm female. What now? Is this a thing? I was teaching a class last week and told my audience that they may need to MacGyver a solution if they come upon a certain problem. No one knew what that meant. Because someone asked, it was an EMT refresher course. These are the people you trust with your life. I was born in 1999 and, while I've never actually watched it, I'm well aware of what that means. When I see popular Reddit posts mentioning celebrities with weird names and I'm like, who the frick are these people? This isn't just age, it's also a product of the internet era. It used to be that everyone watched the same shows on the same few channels or listened to the same few radio stations, or whatever, so everyone knew the same celebrities. In this age where the monoculture has been shattered, everyone is watching different shows on Netflix, YouTube, etc. It's so much easier to find niches. No one knows the same set of celebrities anymore. Coming around the corner of a department store and seeing my dad come around the corner at the same time. It was a mirror. I occasionally say things and hear my father's voice coming out of my mouth. I even notice I have the same half smile he does when I think I'm being clever. It's worrisome. When my oldest daughter was in first grade, she brought a note home from the teacher, saying that my daughter had misbehaved. I had to sign it and send it back. My daughter was scared and tearful and it suddenly struck me, holy yes, I'm the adult here. I'm the authority figure who a little girl is scared to be in trouble with. To me, I was the same person I was when I was 16. Edit, thanks for the award. My very first time monitoring the playground as a substitute while in college to be a teacher, a small child ran up to me and complained someone had pushed her. My immediate reaction was to think, why is she telling me? She needs to go find an ad. Oh my god, I'm the adult here. Right, double quotation mark. I got a shooting pain in my butthole while at work and it took my breath away. Edit, I'm 28F, was waiting tables the first time it happened. It was awkward having to explain to my co-worker why my knees randomly buckled lol. Also, I've never done anal. Wait, this happens to me pretty frequently. I'm only 21. I was walking through Sheffield after work, about 7 PM, around December 2013 I think. It was freezing. A bunch of students rounded the corner and a couple of the girls were wearing really short dresses, no coats. Thought 1, she must be freezing. Thought 2, that's something my dad might have said. Thought 3, I'm old enough to be her dad. Thought 4, why did I not think she was fit? Thought 5, when the frick did I start thinking like this? These thoughts passed through my head in what must have been only half a second. Don't worry. Even in college my first thought was always, wow, she must be cold. Apostrophe. Kiss neck, getting excited over things like a new vacuum, new water heater, or a not plastic silverware tray. Realizing the Linkin Park album I like is 20 years old. Laughing when someone invites me out, especially if the start of the event is 9 PM. Evil cackle, it's even funnier when you are so old you forget it's Linkin Park. I'll add mine since it was the reason I thought to ask this question. Last week I sneezed and it threw my back out. If it makes you feel better, I was 19 when that happened to me. I was so embarrassed I told everyone I was helping my mom move something heavy when it happened. When a student nurse at work tells you she was born the year you left high school. Kids born in 2002 to 2003 are in college now. Could have sworn they were always 8. I've worked for the same company since 2001. I now hire those kids. I grew up watching Friends and remember an episode where Jack Geller, Monica and Ross's dad, talks about having to shave his ear hair. It was a funny, gross moment. I have to do that weekly now. First time I was at the barber and he went into my ear hole with the clippers. Not long after that I started getting questions about whether I wanted my eyebrows trimmed. Bravo grand. I was at work and had a meeting with an ex-Olympic gymnast. She was stunning and had cosmetic surgery to enlarge her frontage. She was also wearing quite a low cut top that had metal spikes in the shoulders. All, supposedly, very distracting stuff. My very first thought, I bet that jumper makes a noise in the tumble dryer. My second thought, fuck, I'm old. You think maybe it's dry clean only? The first time I decided sleep was preferable to X. Edit, added a missing word. The first time I sat on my balls. So I used to work with nonverbal cognitively impaired adults. I worked with an older man that loved to strip naked, leaving his white tube socks and white tennis shoes on. You just had to follow the trail of clothes. His favorite thing to do was to hold onto the toilet seat, hovering his whole body in the air, and dunk his old man balls into the refreshingly cold toilet water. Poseidon's kiss doesn't discriminate with age. Hopefully he flushed pre-dunk though. Also, I'm going to think about this the next time I dunk a cookie in milk, so thanks for that. When I took off my driving glasses and put on my reading glasses for the first time. But the worst one was when I saw a girl in a supermarket near me that looked exactly like a girlfriend I had a long time ago. I was about to go up and say something to her when this older lady grabbed her and said, "Caitlin, come here," and scowled at me. At that moment I realized that the old lady was my ex and the girl was her daughter. That was a low blow. I was just buying dryer sheets, but instead I got my age thrown in my face like a punch from Mike Tyson. AWW, what a missed opportunity. Common name? Whoa, your daughter looks exactly like you did back when we dated. And just walk off. The daughter will ask her questions later, doing all the real work for you. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, you should listen. Part of me can't wait to pull that line on someone. When my new doctor looked like Dougie Hauser MD. For those that don't know that reference, point proven. My doctor looked like Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys. I was blushing and thinking, stop it, he could be your son. When a kid said, "What's a DVD?" Not even VHS. When I learned what I've been referring as pound pluses is actually hashtag pluses. I still don't know why it is called a hashtag instead of pound though. In the UK it has always been called the hash key. Maybe it is more universal to try and avoid confusion with pound symbol, the currency. Went to concert. Held up lighter. Everyone else held up cell phone. Shocked today. Eminem is 48 years old. Well, you can just frick right off with that nonsense. How many years ago 9/11 happened? That one really blows me away. It happened long enough ago that there are young men and women entering university who don't have any memory of the event or life before. Also, less than a year before 9/11 memes are going to be allowed on our history memes. I loved American Eagle, especially their jeans. Went in one day and saw a t-shirt that said "Totes Amaze." Turned around and exited the store. Haven't been in the store or bought clothes from them since. I'm so old I just buy my clothes from Target. American Eagle is so solid though. I'm 28 and that is a super cringe saying, but the quality of flannels and sweatshirts is so good. Give another try. You relate to those progressive commercials about acting like your parents. When I learned that my 17-year-old niece had never heard of Weird Al Yankovic. 23-year-old co-worker never heard of Nirvana. Mail stopped being fun. It's just bills now and the occasional coupon book. Oh, and I get excited about coupon books. I saw a comment the other day saying that we're closer to 2050 than we are 1990, and that just made me feel old since I grew up in the 1990s. Whenever someone says 20 years ago, I still think 1980, not 2000. I'm 58. Bought a $2,500 electric skateboard couple years ago. I've never ridden it for fear of injury. When I was about 28 or 29, I added laughter lines to my Xbox avatar. That was a little joke because I was starting to notice the eye roll. No biggie. When I was 35 though, I noticed my first grey hair. I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. Existential crisis, initiated. My girlfriend was playing with my hair a while back. Stopped in one specific spot and started searching through my hair. She then told me I have a grey hair. I am 21. I was cleaning out the storage room and came across my old Game Boy. Said to myself, wow, this makes me feel old. It's been like 10 years since this was made. Got curious and googled it. 1989. Cyrillic letterdeath. The worker at Dunkin' Donuts gave me a senior discount. I didn't ask for one. I just realized I'm older now than my dad was the first time this happened to him. He was buying a cup of coffee at a McDonald's, and the cashier charged him something ludicrously low. He was like, wait, that's not the right amount. Yes, it is sir, I gave you your senior citizen's discount. Dot. He was only in his mid-30s. I was born after the advent of The Simpsons. I started watching the show before I was 10, and there came a point when I realized I'm watching The Simpsons and I'm now older than Bart. Fast forward to 2020, and I'm almost Homer's age. Oh. Oh, what are the odds they keep making new Simpsons when I'm Abraham Simpson's age? If they do, I might need to go out for some frosty chocolate milkshakes. Adventure Quest sent me an email noting that it's their 18th birthday this year. I found that game in 2005. When I was rewatching Gilmore Girls, for like the 20th time, a few years ago, and realized I was the same age as Lorelai. When it first aired, I was the same age as Rory. When I read my teenage nephew's Instagram and have no idea what he and his friends are talking about. I started work at a place that played an oldies station all day. It was stuff from the 80s and 90s. To me, an oldie is from 1960 or earlier. I had to explain to somebody I work with who Cher was. I had a co-worker that didn't know The Who. To clarify, he asked, is there really a band called The Who? So he wasn't just doing a The Who joke. When I realized it's easier to just say I'm in my 30s than it was to remember exactly how old I am. When movie stars started being younger than me, the recent Star Wars trilogy, the most recent Spider-Man reboot, etc. When I realized that how I conducted myself on one day would still affect my body the very next day, and I could not longer just walk it off, sore feet, bruises, eating very bad junk food, etc. When I realized there were now people approaching their mid-20s who have no personal memories of 9/11. When I was listening to an oldies rock station and realized that the 80s was now include. My local oldies radio station now plays zeros. Couldn't believe it. When I took my twins out for their first legal drink, I was like, damn, there goes my designated driver, S. Getting excited for the nights in rather than the nights out. Snapchat. I seriously am too old for it, and nobody wants to snap with me because I don't understand the rules for what makes good content. Because nobody snaps with me, I never get any better at the platform. It is the first trend I found myself wanting to tell to get off my lawn. You need friends who use it. There are no rules, It's simply a way to communicate daily with friends using photos to tell everything. Or pics. Add me at Buckstravel. I'm not doing much traveling and currently work for Amazon, and I won't send nudes, so nothing exciting. When I was playing Among Us the other night and everyone said they were 15, 16 and 17, and I was like, damn, I'm 23, and they all said, what are you doing up? Don't you have a job to go to in the morning? When I had to put Urban Dictionary on my phone to understand what's going on, I noticed that my YouTube recommended feed is mostly news. Fuck, I'm old. No, that's just because of the election. I'm a teenager and all I'm getting recommend is news. Guy at work told me his name was Munchie. I looked at my other co-worker and said I'm too damn old to be calling someone Munchie. On a dating app, seeing profiles of people my age. When a doctor described me as middle-aged, fuck. Hiked some mountains during college. I'm 49 now, and last year hiked again after about 20 years. Those words did escape my mouth a few times. When pro athletes that I grew up watching had kids that were now veteran ball players. When pro athletes started to be considered old and near retirement when they were around the same age as me. When people I went to school with started having kids that were going into high school. When I started to subconsciously evaluate pro athletes on how good of neighbors they would be. Teaching a class to soldiers, and I mentioned I joined the military because of 9/11. We all remember where we were when that happened, right? Soldier response, I wasn't born yet. I teach college students near a military post, so many of my students are enlisted or spouses, dependents or veterans. I've now taught soldiers who enlisted because of 9/11, and soldiers who enlisted who didn't live when it happened. And I've had some who have retired who enlisted during 9/11, and whose children enlisted and are still in. We've been over the too fricking long if we are on a second literal generation. Every time I investigate a sound outside by turning off the lights and peeping through the blinds, then report to my wife the cause of said sound. When someone asked what a pager is. Happens frequently to me for many reasons. Bent over to look at a plant and it fricked up my back for a few days. I do payroll, and sometimes I'll enter a job and I'll see something like this person was born in 1995. Better get the minor paperwork. I do not understand the vast majority of current pop music at all. I don't know who the hell these famous people are. And when I do find out, I have no idea why anybody would care. I think teenagers and young adults are idiots. I'm 39 and absolutely feel ancient. When things hurt with no reason. I work with a good bit of people in their 20s and mentioned my hand was hurting. Why? Did you slam it in something? Nope. It just hurts. So things just hurt when you're older, for no reason? Well, it should go away, yeah? Sometimes they go away, and that's nice. Right? Double quotation mark. My niece drove over to our house the other day just to say hi. In her own car and telling us about her first job. I remember all the milestones, but seeing her drive up on her own, I felt like I needed a cane to walk to the curb to talk to her. When I found out the Ralph Macchio was older than Pat Morita was when he portrayed Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid. Edit, Pat Morita, or Morita Nori Aoki in Japanese. I'm in my 30s. Several years ago when smartphones first came out, I was content with my flip phone, and it took me way too and embarrassingly long to understand what there's an app for that meant. I've actually only upgraded to a smartphone about 4 years ago, way behind the pack. I played Among Us with a random group. Randomly said my age, and one of them said their mom was that old. They started calling me dad. I eventually said, "Are you winning, son?" And they all were like, "OMG," like from the meme. It was pretty adorable. When I got the invite to my 20th high school reunion, Where the ever-living fuck did 2 decades go? I don't even understand this. I started freaking out about my age when I was like 27. I am so hyper aware that time is slipping through my fingers while I spend all day on Reddit. Just a month or so ago, I was cutting my hair and got a glimpse of my profile in the mirror and it was like, "Grandpa? What are you doing in my bathroom mirror?" Apostrophe. I got called a boomer, I'm 30, because a kid legitimately swallowed a whole bottle of pain pills, acetaminophen, in front of me, due to a toothache, while I was working, and I simply told him to be careful because he could get really sick, like I did, giving myself ulcers and vomiting blood, gaining eczema because I took my pills on an empty stomach, or even die. When a kid half my age had to explain slang, such as thick, to me. When a kid, who was borrowing her mom's flip phone cause her smartphone died, asked me to help her text cause she didn't understand how it worked. Wow, he is very stupid and absolutely has kidney liver damage. Even very small overdoses of acetaminophen can cause permanent liver damage. He might be closer to the grave than you. I'm 58 and it hasn't hit me yet. It has. You just can't remember. BTW, you're 59. Hookup apps. They came after my promiscuous prime and I feel like I could have done really well there. 2-day hangovers. When I stopped looking forward to Christmas, it went from being the most wonderful time of the year to it's Christmas and we're all in misery. Apostrophe. I have friends that I've known for longer than I haven't. I've been married longer than I haven't. When I told someone the other day that the first actual PC that I bought had DOS for an OS and had a 40MB HD. I saw the original Toy Story when it came out. There are parents today that have probably taken their children to see Toy Story 4 that weren't even alive when the original came out. As soon as the weather outside gets slightly cold, my hands become drier like the Sahara Desert. I just turned 36. I'm closer to 70 than my own birth. I was talking with a kid at work about rap music and told him I really like 36 Mafia and Jeezy and the kid said okay yeah I can get down on some old school. Local Sifu TV channel, welcome to our weekend marathon of Firefly. Husband and I, Local Sifu TV channel. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of its release. Husband and I, apostrophe. When I don't recognize slang anymore. Seeing everyone on TV, movies or whatever all getting old looking. And it all seems to have happened in an instant. Life really is short. Looked up Steve Martin's age in Parenthood. He was 44. I'm 48. It hit me hard. When my little girl ran up to me at a yard sale and asked what the thing she was holding was called. That's a record album, sweetie. When I see people posting pictures of their parents on our old school cool and it's clear I am older than their parents. I went to a Smashing Pumpkins concert last year and thought, man, there are so many middle-aged people at this show. And then I realized I was one of them. I groan loudly when I get up as my joints snap, crackle, and pop. I still have a VHS player. And use IT. Whenever I reminisce about Blockbuster Video. The good old days. I was telling some friends about a Kids Bop cover that was beyond hilarious, and one of them went, I've never heard of that song before. It was Macklemore's Thrift Shop. I couldn't live my life for years without hearing it somewhere. How did it just vanish? Edited to add a link for anyone looking for a laugh. Earlier this year I bent down to pick up a rock and toss it back into my gravel driveway, felt something in my spine hitch in a weird way, and without a hint of irony said aloud, "Ah, my back." That was a dark day. when the 11-year son of my acquaintance asked me if I knew what Minecraft is. The day I realized, holy yes, I can actually retire. Now. Right now. There's a whole lot less stress going to work when I know I can say I jaff at any time and walk out. Having frick you money is an incredibly freeing thing. Being happy when I'm given socks for my birthday. Talking to work colleagues, kids really, about horror movies. It's just that time of the year. I get Who's Jason? What's The Shining? And my personal favorite Saw is well old. Remember me when you read about me in the paper having killed everyone I work with. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment.